Love it.
All right, so for those of you just joining us, we had a little technical issue there. We are fixed and we're back and ready to like our normal setup.
Rock on, Rockers.
We just bought a new camera so that we can do more. We're actually going to be broadcasting the U.S. Open Cup game for FC Tacoma on Wednesday night.
Yes, this Wednesday.
Live from Mount Tahoma. So we got a new camera, so they'll do HD. Because trying to do a soccer match with one of these little cameras is not exactly as easy as it is.
But we now know how Fox Sports actually broadcasts.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So, anyway, so now we have this new camera. We can actually do a real game and broadcast a real game.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm very excited about that. So we wanted to try it out tonight, make sure it works. It works for some things. It's not going to work for the live show until we fix an issue.
So you got 2 days to get it under control.
That's
I think it's going to be okay for the game because we don't have any
Interaction
with
Oh,
the. So
yeah.
it's going to be Mike over here. It's going to camera projecting down. So it won't be Godzilla.
But when we have live interaction, there's two of us, then it's a little bit more tech work we have to do.
So anyway, welcome to the show.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. We're excited.
It's great to meet you guys. I love this place.
Good. Excellent. Well, good. Well, you are, like I said, I was just starting to say before we had to cut off, you are one of our, we feel very fortunate to have you here today. We've been fortunate to have some amazing guests on here.
Yeah.
And we
You've
feel
had
like
amazing guests on here.
you are another one of those in that line of amazing guests.
Yes.
It must be at the end of the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Well,
Save the best for last.
it was either that or give me my own show. So.
Right.
And nobody wanted it.
Nobody wants just
Nobody
sleep.
wanted
So here's
No,
Fred
no.
instead.
Here's
Yes.
All right. I just need to know where I am in the food chain.
So everybody knows who we are, and they don't watch for us anymore.
No, not at all.
They watch for our guests.
Mostly.
Who is Fred?
How far back you want to go?
How far back can you go?
Well, can you go all the way back to the quarry with Barney?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I hired Barney.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I was assistant foreman when Barney
There we
came
go.
in, and
There we go.
yeah, of course.
He's quick.
Oh, dude.
I like
He's
that. He's on it.
Well, I mean, look at his career path.
he's soon to be a regular.
He has to be a little quick on the way.
I'm a farm kid, born and raised about 20 miles from here in the Green River Valley, in the great metropolis of Algona.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know
Algona
Algona,
Pacific.
just south of
Yep.
Yeah.
the Twin Cities, Algona
Algona
Pacific.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's a song about that.
and
Algona.
yeah, my dad was a farmer, and so I spent most of my life on my hands and knees on rows of beans and peas and corn and doing all that stuff, thinking I've got to go to school, I've got to go to school. There's no way I'm going to do it. Yeah, so I grew up out there, Auburn High School, played baseball, basketball, and football. Went to college.
Shortstop in high school,
I was
right?
a shortstop, yeah, for
But
most of it. And then
Pitched the game and closed out a game winner.
That was in summer ball, yeah. Did that.
Nice.
Was a quarterback and a cornerback and a point guard.
Dude.
Look at that.
Soccer didn't exist. We played soccer in PE because it was a section that you had to do,
Are
just
you
like wrestling.
serious? I did not know that.
So we played soccer for about a week, but our teachers couldn't find anything that looked like a soccer ball, so we played with one of those big round
ball.
playground balls.
The bouncy balls.
Yeah, and you couldn't follow it. So anyway, that's the first time I ever heard the word soccer. That was many years ago. So I went to University of Washington.
Dog.
Woof.
Bleed purple. Went to graduated. Got accepted into law school. And the very first day of law school, 1969, Uncle Sam sent me a letter and said, "Congratulations, and I need you to go fight the war." So I left law school on the very first day, spent 2 years with Uncle Sam, and then came back and went to law school at the UW. That gets you all the way through 1974.
Wow.
Born in 1974.
Wow, I'm seeing some
Yeah.
correlations here.
Yeah.
King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office after law school for 4.5 years, then into private practice, and then how much more do you want to know?
Keep going.
Keep going.
Oh, we
Well,
love
let's
it.
move into your soccer background.
So we're close. You're within 5 years.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
So I was still playing AAU basketball, softball, and flag football because that's what I did. And then I had two beautiful little daughters, and
Maya and
Megan.
Megan.
Okay.
Maya and Megan. And one July evening, actually it was afternoon, I was in my law office out in Burien, and I had a call from my brother who said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Well, nothing." And he said, "We're short a player. We're short 2 players, actually. Can you come and help us out?" And I'm thinking slow pitch softball. That's what I'm thinking, slow pitch softball. And I said, "Sure, I'll come." So he said, "We're playing soccer." And I said, "What?" He says, "Don't worry about it. It's fun." It's fun. He says, you have your plastic cleats from playing baseball. Just bring them and show up at this field.
With baseball cleats.
So this is July of 1979. I show up. They gave me a blue jersey, a blue T-shirt, and they throw me out there. And they said, "Look, you were a cornerback, you were a free safety, you were a point guard. This is just like that. We're going to put you on the defense. All you have to do is don't let anybody beat you," which was easy for me. Don't let anybody beat you, and if the ball comes to you, just kick it out of bounds. Kick it out of bounds. Don't worry about it. Just kick it out of bounds. So I did it, and I was successful.
Nice.
I was extremely successful. So they asked me to come back again. I said, "Well, we are always short. You want to play?" And I'm thinking, I can do this. So I joined their team. We'd go play games, and then we'd have beer, right? So about the 3rd game, we're having a beer in Kent someplace, and they said, "Okay, do you really like this?" I said, "Yeah, it's kind of fun." So they said, "All right, so here we got to tell you something. Now that you like it, the object is to keep the ball inside the lines." So you got to go practice. Somebody's got to teach you how to do something, because we can't just keep kicking at it. So that was my introduction to soccer, 1979. And I started playing after that, and played until I retired 2 years ago, 2012.
Wow.
Damn.
Played for a whole host
What
of teams.
position is your favorite position to play?
Originally I was a sweeper.
Okay.
Sweeper, and then because I could run, I always wound up playing outside midfield, because that's 18 to 18.
Yep.
You have to make your runs forward, and then you gotta make
Also
your runs
back.
back. And they
See, I was really good at
"Fred,
the
you
first
could-
part.
Fred, you could do that. And then I played all midfield. Never let me go anywhere near having to kick it towards the goal, because my toe punches weren't that good.
Yep.
Anyway, I had a great time. My kids played. I was telling some of the folks before the show that when my 2 daughters were 1 and 2, my wife was sort of getting irritated, because on the winters I was playing basketball, and in the summers now it was slow pitch softball and soccer. She said, "You got to grow up. You got 2 beautiful little girls at home. You got to start staying home."
What did she know?
Yeah, really.
Well, hey,
Wait, she's not watching, is she?
I'm no dummy. I went at one of the next games. We're having a beer afterwards, and I'm going to mention to all my buddies, "I'm going to have to quit this, and here's why." They said, "Our wives are telling the same thing to us." So by the end of the night, we had started co-ed soccer team
Nice.
in Federal Way.
Nice.
Smart.
And
Brilliant.
we got the girls interested, and they knew as much about the game as we knew when we started, which was 0. So we started a Friday night co-ed league in Federal Way, and we talked to guys on the other teams that we were playing against, and they're saying the same thing. So we put together a 6-team league, and we had about 18 people on each team, and when you weren't playing, you babysat all the kids on the side of the field, and then we rotate people through. So the boys got to keep playing soccer.
That is brilliant.
That is
Right,
awesome.
so we're brilliant.
Why can't we do that at the bar?
We do.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
We're here.
Anyway,
for Sounders Awakens.
Yeah, pretty
The
much.
kids
that
come
was
down
my
here.
introduction to soccer.
Love it.
Nice.
That is cool,
Love it.
man.
That's awesome. Okay.
So
All right.
I'm assuming as you were playing, you started gaining a love for the game. Here locally, watching Sounders, I hope.
Well, I'd already known about the Sounders because I had season tickets in the 70s
There we go.
when they were at Memorial Stadium, and we were at the Kingdom when we put 58,000 people in there for the inaugural game.
Which is the
in
Stars,
Kingdom.
right? Metro Stars, or
No, we played the Cosmos.
Cosmos? That's what I meant. That's what I
We played
meant.
the Cosmos, and we
Pele.
Pele.
Pele was
Pele,
here.
Beckenbauer, and Canalia,
Wow.
plus Ricky Davis. one of the local guys made
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Local kids here. So so that was those were the old days, and then they went away. So soccer was fun. I enjoyed watching it, and it's addictive.
Yeah. Yeah. As you can tell by everybody that's here.
Yeah, it is addictive.
Well, I made the joke before the show to you, and then I also made the joke before we had our technical issue that you're the reason why I follow soccer. I mean, and you indirectly, without you and your involvement, which we'll get to in a minute, I was not a soccer fan growing up. I mean, I watched the World Cup maybe for like a few minutes, or if a big game was on maybe, but I was not. And now, it's like a mainline soccer. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's like give me more. I need more soccer.
He actually mainlines the community. It's not actually the game.
No, but you know how much soccer I watch on TV.
I know we do all the time. And you think I'm bad? It may sound like I'm a fanatic about it, but no one is more fanatic than my wife. She's the one who had to get into this through the co-ed.
Right.
And then she went out and started playing on 2 women's teams, plus the co-ed team. And now
And then you're the one that's like, hey, I want you to
You're
come back home.
Right.
Because
So she's the soccer fanatic. She's the one who won't miss a Sounders game. Game the other day on Sunday, I was out playing with the boy, my dogs, and she's in there watching the game minute by minute. And I don't have to watch it now because she'll recap it to me.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So we're a soccer family.
That's good.
That's totally cool.
I love it.
What was it like? I want to ask you, what was it like being at that game with Pele? And then, what was it like when you go to the games now and you get the big games like Casey Keller's last game when we had like 60,000+. What was the environment at that game?
At the Kingdom?
At the Kingdom.
You know, what I remember, it's been 1 or 2 years since then.
Right.
And because we didn't have the sophisticated background of soccer, it was different. There were a few people there who knew soccer, but it was just an event. I mean, it was raucous and loud, and we booed every time they did something, and we cheered every time we did something. So what has changed these years? Seattle is a very sophisticated soccer community. I don't need to tell you guys that.
Yep.
But
We wouldn't know.
at the lowest at the lowest levels to the highest levels, you can be standing in the foyer in the club section out on the street, and you hear people talking, and they're not just talking about as fans.
Right.
The cool thing is how sophisticated the conversations are.
Yes.
So this is a soccer city, no question about it.
And we're going to ask you a question about that here in a little bit, closer towards the end. But have you seen that where you're now through the 70s, you get that sophistication level rising and rising and rising, and now you see us MLS fans, Sounders fans, watching European soccer. I mean, I watch German and Spanish soccer.
The Bundesliga,
Going out of business. I know.
I watch Mexican soccer.
Mexican soccer. We have a lot of friends that watch the show that are
A little bit of
English.
Costa Rican, a little bit of Brazilian. I mean, just
A lot of
if it's on and it's soccer,
Yeah.
it's on.
Yeah.
It's great, and you can go into most pubs now.
Right.
Especially at the beginning of in early April, it was hard to get them to do, but now that the Mariners are 11 and 17 or whatever they are, it's fairly easy to go into a pub and say, hey, there's a soccer game on, would you change it? Because there's probably only 1 or 2 people watching the 3rd inning or the 4th inning.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the past, if you ever went in and asked a pub
they
owner
laugh you out.
hey, there's a soccer game. Could we watch the soccer game instead of this rerun of Days of Your Lives?
Yeah.
They would say, are you kidding me?
Get out of here.
Yeah. And now they've got the list.
Yeah.
Which one do you want? Do you want the Mexican?
Yeah. Right.
Or do you want the international?
They better want the Mexican.
Lee and I both travel quite a bit,
Yeah.
and it's something that we both experienced. That I'll be in like Ohio or whatever. I'll be in some random state, and the Sounders game is on, and I'll be calling from bar to bar to bar to find out where it is. And I watched it at 3:00 in the morning from my hotel in Italy. On my phone, I watched the Sounders after I'd been at San Siro all day watching Inter Milan play Juventus. I mean, so for me, it's like wherever I am.
Horrible teams, those two.
Inter
It was
Milan lost that game, so yeah.
interesting side story that in 2002, World Cup in Seoul and
Yep.
That's
Japan.
right.
in Japan,
Yep.
my youngest daughter, Megan, was a student in San Diego, UCSD. She has two, count them, NC2A championship watches and rings.
What?
Wow.
Wow.
3 out of 4 years, the Final Four. So this kid had a great soccer career. And that's like, anyway,
That's awesome.
we decided we were going to go take a little road trip and drive Megan back from San Diego in June. My daughter Maya went to the University of Puget Sound, played down there.
Right.
And so Maya was out of school early, so we went down there, but the World Cup was on. So as we're driving back,
You had to plan your stops
the
around
3
games.
people who weren't driving were on the cell phone calling, would say, how far can we make it today? And we were on the phone finding out who had ESPN and ESPN2.
Yeah.
And it was, so this is 2002, so it's not that
No,
long
no,
ago.
no.
No.
It was hard coming up the coast in California to find places. We wound up in Morro Bay. We found a Best Western in Morro Bay, and then we found one up north,
That's
and then
great.
we found one finally in Ashland, Oregon,
Yep, beautiful town.
where we could get it. But it was great because we got one.
Everybody's
Right?
super excited.
We
Like,
got 100
yeah!
miles.
That's awesome.
That's so cool, man.
That's
So we
great.
could watch all those games.
I love it.
So that was the '94 World Cup.
2002.
That was 2002.
2002,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was 2002.
Yep.
And then I got to go to Germany in 2006.
I see. I was in the lottery for that, and they offered me tickets. They literally called me 4 days before opening kick of the 2006, and they were like, "Would you like tickets?" I'm like, "How am I supposed to get there?"
They just happened to me. It was a great trip. My daughters went to Brazil this past year. So the
Wow.
whole family's been able to go to.
I
World Cup.
had left a job where I had customers in Brazil before the World Cup, and that was like my biggest career mistake ever. Because I had
Is it
customers
too
down
soon?
there, and I was like, oh man, I could have visited my customers. I could have stayed because they were like family. They were customers that became like family. down
Nice.
there. I went to their mom's birthday party while I visited, so they were like, yeah, come stay with us, and I'm like,
What a fool!
I know. Well, I've lost.
You said that,
I have
right?
lots of those moments, right?
Well, we
We've
don't
all
call them
had
smart.
those already.
We don't call them smart.
No.
No.
We've all had those moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's so.
right,
Soccer's a big part of what we do in our family.
So
I
let's
can
talk
tell.
about how you saved soccer, saved football, American football.
Yeah, pretty much.
And helped create the next generation of soccer fans in Seattle. I'll count myself as one of those. And I know some of the rest of the MLS thinks they're funny because we're plastic fans who only existed because of MLS and whatever else. But can we talk about that process? I mean,
Sure, but that's an urban legend. I mean, I maybe I'm a legend in my own mind, but honestly, I didn't save anything.
these are our words.
I
Yeah.
know,
So-
I
Yep.
know, I know.
And the words.
But I expect you guys to keep it a little bit.
Well, there's an article right here.
And there's a book
there's
right
a-
here.
From the Gas Man.
The Gas Man.
I paid a lot of
Now-
money to get my name in
The
those.
Gas Man doesn't lie. But this is a.
So this is where we found out about Fred. If you have not
Yeah,
read this book, as the Gasman said, EBFG is questionable.
that's right. But I mean, so okay, we're building you up too big. But at the same point, to us, I mean, the reality is, without the vote, without soccer fans getting involved,
Without your voice being involved.
correct?
Okay, I was the voice, but you guys all voted, right?
Yes,
No,
I did.
I didn't.
I did.
I did.
Everybody who voted
I did.
are the,
I lived in Ballard at
reason
the
why
time.
we
Yeah.
why we have the Sounders together. No
Yeah.
question about it.
Yeah.
So for a little bit of that, I will take credit. I was the flag bearer. Okay, that's fair. I did it,
Yep.
and I had a great time doing it, and it worked out really, really well.
So tell us about
we
it.
shouldn't build it any harder. Well, here, so after the World Cup in 1994.
Yep.
Alan Rothenberg, who was then the new he was the commissioner of the Olympics, and then the first commissioner of MLS, that that Major League Soccer was going to be created, and we all said great, cool, but Seattle didn't put a bid in. And it got towards the end in 1996. It got pushed back a year organizationally, and they were going to start in 1996. And one day, somebody from MLS called the King County Sports and Events Council, which was a subdivision of the Seattle King County Chamber of Commerce, and its job was to bring sporting events to Seattle. Remember, there was some road racing, bicycle road racing, some tennis tournaments, the 1990 Goodwill Games.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember that? So the King County Sports and Events Council was the sports arm of the chamber.
Sure.
And at that time, I was coaching my daughters. I was playing. My wife and I were playing, and I was also the legal counsel for the Washington State Youth Soccer Association. Another one of those volunteer things. I think my tombstone, if there is a tombstone, is going to say he couldn't say no. Well, honestly, that's the only thing that would
We're
be
just
appropriate.
glad you didn't say no to us.
Couldn't say no.
So you're not supposed to say that when you're recording.
Oh. Can I withdraw that?
Yes, you can.
Nobody's done it. Can we erase that?
We'll edit that one out. Don't worry.
So anyway,
I forgot to hit record, so it's okay. No, I didn't.
So-
I didn't.
We've all done it once or twice.
actually have,
Trust
yes.
us.
We would have been able to get the stream anyway.
Yeah.
So a little blurb came in the sports section of the newspaper. It said, hey, if you're interested in helping Seattle try to put together a bid, come down to this office on such and such a day. And I always wanted to do something that was for the better good of the game. Besides, I was refereeing, I was coaching, I was administering, I was doing pretty much anything that they asked me to do.
Sure.
But anyway, I volunteered. I went down and volunteered. That's where I met Alan Hinton and a whole bunch of the people. We put together a committee, and we tried to get a bid, and we didn't get the bid. We got about 750 deposits for season tickets though. Wow. But the fail point was we had no place to play. MLS wanted grass.
Right.
We went out. We couldn't find a place to play, and so the bid didn't work. So in the exit interview, some of us were sitting around, and they said, "You know what? Soccer we think could be big here. We need to find a place where we can build a soccer-specific stadium." So the Sports and Events Council created a small committee called the Northwest Soccer Stadium Committee, and they asked me to chair it. About 4 of us sat on this committee, and for the next year, we went everywhere. Issaquah, Renton, the field at the stadium at Renton, property in Tukwila, property in Kent. We were looking to find 4.5 acres where we could build a 20,000-seat stadium. And I was doing that, and I was spending a lot of time doing it. My law partners used to say, "Are you ever going to practice law? Because you're never here, and you're always doing these things." I said, "Sure, no problem." So anyway, one morning, now we're in 1997, late January, early February. Open up the sports page, saw these big headlines. Paul Allen pays $20 million for an auction to save the Seahawks if you'll build him a new outdoor stadium. I looked at that. I don't know whether I speed dialed his office quicker than Mike Campbell, who was the president of the Sports and Events Council. But within a matter of minutes, we were on the phone with Paul Allen's office. And within a couple days, we had a meeting with his senior people. And in about a week, we had a meeting with him. And he said, absolutely. I was thinking, football rectangular, soccer rectangular, great. And they jumped on board. And so that's how it all got started. They knew it was going to be a tough battle. You may remember that in the year before that, the Mariners went to the legislature and
That's right.
and the people voted no.
That's right.
People said, heck no, we're not going to build a baseball stadium for the Mariners.
Well, that's because they're horrible.
Well, no, this
It's
is
a national pastime.
But you got to
Through
keep
the
in
day.
mind,
That's right. It's not a sport.
not
Pastime.
not necessarily that the
Yes.
No.
Fred is
I
my
hope-
new hero. Fred is my new hero.
I hope my
I love
no,
Fred.
I love
No,
the
no, no,
Mariners. I hope my
no.
Mariner friends win.
But let me tell you something though. In
hey,
90s,
Kyle,
this
rue
is
the
96, 97, they had just had their magical run in 95. So they were,
95.
you know, they were
95.
that was like the greatest. I remember it,
That
like
saved the
every
Mariners.
The
yeah.
only
Yeah,
problem
too.
was the Kingdom tiles were falling on
Yeah,
top of
that's
their heads,
right.
So the Mariners said, we're leaving. Build us a new one. The people said, not just no, hell no. So they went back behind the doors to the legislature
Mr. Slade Gordon.
and the legislature approved the bill, and all of the voters were fit to be tied. It was a bad time
I remember that.
in
Yeah.
local
yeah.
politics,
Oh,
right?
yeah, big time.
So within a year now, there's this new initiative
For another
for
stadium.
another stadium to be built with public money,
Just like,
right? And the public money, you know, we're going, oh my God. And plus, you had Bubba Baring with his trucks lined up. In
Oh, my
Kirkland
God, I remember
trying
that.
to load the stuff up and take the Seahawks away.
Yep.
So we had a football environment where the team wasn't that good. We had a political environment where the people said, hell no, and they just got ripped by Slade Gorton and the legislators. And Paul said, let's go ask the legislature for money. But Paul said, I'm only going to do it if the people vote on it, right? So that's the environment that we were looking at in February. And
That seems like a really steep climb.
that's why
Like a lot of challenges to overcome.
That's why when we say that soccer saved the Seahawks, it is emphatically true.
absolutely.
Without the soccer people and our dream for the stadium, the Seahawks know. They'll tell you, all of them, to a man. Paul will tell you. It was never going to happen. So they were ecstatic when we got on board. So that's how it all started.
Right. And that's where, okay, now hearing you say that, you are the Godfather.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
you come full circle.
Yeah.
You talked me out of it
Cheers.
with your words. Yeah,
I don't
okay.
have
Cheers.
You want to kiss it? Yeah.
Cheers
we
to
did.
the Godfather.
Whoa!
Don't worry, we'll get you another
You see
one.
that, cat? No, we're good. We're good. There was nothing left in it.
Yep,
We're good.
we're good.
There we go.
Just by the power cord, yep.
You better not give me another one because I'm pretty
No,
dead.
you're
No,
cut
you're
off
fine.
now.
Yeah,
Cut off.
You're fine.
We're good.
Thank you.
We're good.
Totally fine. All right.
So
But it's true. It's the truth, though. I mean, hearing you tell the story, I'm back right where I was 15 minutes ago. I mean, without you, things are different in this kind of city.
it's a
Things are
true
lot
story.
different.
I mean, it is a true story, but the story only begins there, right?
Right.
Because it took everybody who was a soccer guy to vote on it. So in the legislature, we went down. I'm sorry.
Oh no, everything's all good. Didn't hit my phone.
We went down to the legislature and they quickly crafted a bill and put it before the legislature, and it was quickly changed, and all of the football references were changed to soccer/football. In some cases, soccer was first,
Oh, okay.
and then football/soccer field. World Cup was placed in the statute. Olympic soccer was placed in the statute. So all of this stuff got changed really quickly, and then we spent the next 2 months in Olympia. Now it's February, and the bill was actually approved by the House and the Senate on April 28th, 2 days before the end of the session.
Wow.
The vote in the Senate was 28 to 21. And the vote in the House, which is bigger, was I think 140 to 121. So it was almost a dead heat.
Was it a West versus East vote?
You know,
Or was it a
I
line?
think it
I don't,
was-
I don't know.
I think
actually.
it was partially west-east, with west being more. But we had a Democratic legislature.
Yep.
Governor Gary Locke was a
Yep.
Democrat.
Yep.
So I think it went along.
Party lines.
Went along those party lines too. But the interesting thing in the statute, the bill that was passed, one of the very last lines in it, showing how much confidence the legislature had in it, They wanted nothing to do with this, and they wanted their fingerprints nowhere near the statute. So I think one of the last lines in the statute says, "This shall be the one and only vote on this subject." It actually says that. I mean, you've never seen that in legislation. So it says that. So it went out. They passed it, and they said, "Okay, go do it." So we had from April 28th until June 14th to mount a campaign for a special election that Paul Allen agreed to pay for, $4 million to go do it. So we had less than 2 months to go energize all of the voters on a one subject election in the middle of the summer, right? To get the people to come to the polls and say yes.
So you were talking about that uphill battle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like they poured oil down it
And-
until it would
yeah,
climb up
like-
with no
Yeah, right,
with no
right.
shoes
Mount
on.
Rainier, pretty much. You got
It
to
was
get
the
out
wall
there.
from Game of
And they
Thrones.
took your sneakers
Yeah.
off, so you're going up barefoot.
Exactly.
Right. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
that's what it looked. That's what the environment looked like
Wow.
on April 28th of 1997. And so Paul Allen, because he has resources, hired darn near every public relations firm in the city of Seattle and all of the legislative lobbyists, because now the legislature was open, and so these guys were all looking for work.
Right.
There was an army of probably 20 people, 25 people. Every Monday, we would have a meeting. Some of us would be on the phone, some of us would be local. And they had all of these, this is what we're going to do this week. This is soccer, this is football. Seahawks are going to go do this, soccer needs to go do this. And then they looked down the list, and then they said, well, let's just check. Are there any of those soccer things that football should be at? No. Are there any of those football things that soccer should be at? Yes. And so they'd start checking those out. So in essence, this whole list was things that we had to do. Soccer tournaments. We drove all over the state. Bob Whitsitt was the president then. Remember, he was a
Yeah, they got it from the Sonics.
guy from the Sonics and later the Trailblazers. Bob Whitsitt, and then Bert Cole, who was Paul Allen's consigliere, and I was with one of those
Going
guys.
back to the Godfather references.
You guys
I know.
started. You guys started it.
I just want to
went-
make sure it's pointed out.
Yeah.
We drove corner to corner in the state to every newspaper, big and small, to the editorial boards, trying to get them to write an editorial supporting the stadium. And we'd get on, we'd get up in the morning and drive here, and we'd drive there, and we'd drive here. And that was their list. And then we'd go to Ted Schramm, the guy from Como, had a town meeting. We went there, and we had all of the chambers of commerce, all of the Rotary, everybody in all the local communities. But football was afraid to go by itself. They said, Fred, you need to come with us.
That's why they wear pads.
Well, it's because everybody hated Kim Baring, and then they had a sour taste in their
That's
mouth.
right.
They're like, hey, this guy almost wanted to leave. Well, go ahead,
And
leave.
that was it. So I'd say, okay.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
remember
when
that.
I did
my
too, man.
law partners used to say, okay, are you going to be here this week? And for that period of time, 2 months, I was never home, never there. I was out on the
Sorry,
road.
guys, but it worked
So
out.
your wife was like all by herself. Your partner was all
Kids
by
were
himself.
they were doing fine, and they were happy we were doing this because they wanted MLS soccer
Yeah.
too. But we used to take literally a soapbox, a big box thing. We took it over to 60 acres. We took it over to Lake Washington. There was no Fort Dent then. We took it all over the place. Wherever there was a tournament or two teams, we would set the box down. They would get a handheld mic. They would set up some floppy boards that showed the stadium. And as soon as the game was over, in between games, they would turn on the mic and they'd say, okay, Fred, start talking. And I'd just start talking, and the people would come over, and groups of people would come over. And I knew a lot of people because I was deep into youth soccer. So
You played in all the leagues.
I had a lot of friends.
Created a couple of leagues. You started co-ed leagues, basically.
I had a lot of friends, and I knew a lot of people, so they'd recognize me and they'd come over, and that's what I did for 2 months. Every day, every weekend, going out at night.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
And we were.
Well, I don't know, Fred. I mean, it's only 2 months.
Well, really, see, I'm telling you, you guys are making this a bigger story than it is.
No,
That's about the length of time our road trips feel like.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So we did it.
Talk about hell.
We've all held, Supporters Shield.
Yep.
I got to go to the Super Bowl and all of those things, everything that we enjoy and we discuss here every week because of those 2 months.
Because of those 2 months, honestly, it is. That story is there because of all of the soccer people who did it. So we get to the 14th. Everybody's worried, but they're saying, "Don't worry." All the soccer people say, "Don't worry, we'll carry it." Football people are saying. So, 50.9% of the registered voters in the state of Washington show up. So the vote is validated, but only by the slimmest of margins.
Wow.
At 0.9%.
And 50.9 or 51% of those who showed up said yes. So roughly 25.5% of the registered voters in the state of Washington are responsible for the stadium.
So this just goes to prove, and this is our civic duty. This is how we give back to the community. This is what happens when you don't vote.
Right.
You get stadiums.
You get a stadium. But it has been the best thing. So,
I mean, it's good for me, so don't vote.
so you can,
exactly.
so you can go back a little ways, and I remember I told you how close it was in the legislature.
Yeah.
Right towards the end of the legislative session, the votes weren't there. So all of the people started hanging. You've heard of the pork barrel politics. All of the people started hanging things on this bill. All right, what would it take for you two guys to give us your vote? What would it take for you to give us a vote?
Bottle of tequila.
A taco or two.
Or taco.
So Paul agreed to write a check for $10 million and put it into a state youth athletic fund as part of the package of funding.
WIAA now?
No. This was it still exists. It's the Washington Youth Athletic Fields Fund, and it actually $10 million went in there because I was appointed to go help spend it. So some legislators
How's your Porsche?
some legislators said I want that in there, so they picked up a couple votes with that. There is a little known provision in that bill, one that I'm very proud of that I had nothing to do with, that says that the exhibition center, remember the Kingdom operated as an exhibition center and an event, so when they built the open air stadium they had to build an exhibition center to go with it.
Right.
There is a section of the statute that says 20% of the net profit from the operation of the event center goes to the state common school fund.
That's awesome.
I didn't know that.
Nobody knows that. Somebody
awesome.
hung that on it with a check for $419,000 that we delivered this year. We're above $2.6 million that we've given back to the Common School Fund because of the stadium.
Awesome.
Somebody hung that on there to get some votes. Right?
When like recently that
The check, so 2.6
Every year.
million total.
Total,
And
every
400
year.
million this year. 400,000 this year.
400,000,
Wow.
416,000. Every year they've made a profit.
Nice.
And First and Goal, which is the
Yep.
operator,
Yeah.
writes a check to us and take it to the state, and we give it to them. It's above next year it'll be about $3 million of money that nobody knows about that just went back to schools because of the stadium. But somebody hung that on there to get
Soccer giving back to teachers.
Because of Fred.
Exactly.
Because
So
of
anyway, that's
the
and then there are
Godfather.
two or
People
three
love
more of
Fred.
those things in the statute, but that's what it took to get 28 people in the Senate, 28 senators to say yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Or do you have a question?
Well, I was just going to ask, do you save
Mike.
kittens on your time off?
Huh?
Do you save kittens on your time off?
I love
There's a
it.
kitten in a tree.
Yeah.
Fred goes to save him.
Yeah. Again, you guys are making more of this than it is.
No.
Oh
It was
no
fun.
no.
It was fun, but it was all of you. I mean, I admit and I accept that I was the flag bearer, and I really wanted this to happen, and I was willing to do whatever they told me to do to make it happen because I wanted it to happen that bad. But without the soccer community voters, no one. I'd like to know. I wish we could find this out. You take that 50.9% of the registered voters and the 50.9% who voted yes. I would bet a lot of money that 70% or 65% of those people were the soccer people.
Which, okay, that's a great segue.
Yeah.
So we've been talking all happy and smiley and good stuff. I want to bring up a semi-controversial topic because I'm good, and I know you know where I'm going. Or I think you probably know where I'm going.
I don't know.
There's a fight that people have, a turf war, yes, a turf war.
Yeah. Literally.
That's why I'm surprised you guys invited me.
Why?
Because you guys have long memories.
Yeah,
Long memories.
And I was not. I told you I was not.
Yeah.
I voted yes because I wanted football because I was a football fan, right?
Yep.
And the fact that it was multi-use, great, that's cool. But I was a football fan. I wanted
I'll
it to
go to a
happen.
concert someday.
My parents asked me where should I vote, and I was like, don't worry, just vote there,
Yes,
vote
yeah.
there, vote there.
But I've heard now that I've become ingrained in this community, and people try and get rid of me, but I keep coming back.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've heard from some people,
He literally like survived like
Oh God.
oh
died.
sorry Lee. Sorry Lee.
But I've heard that there was,
That was my
some
bad.
controversy about the choice of field turf versus a natural grass or some sort of thing, and that a lot of the soccer fans voted positively because of the
For that
promises that it would
Yep.
be a natural grass field. So can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
or
because
is that-
that's a lot of people have asked and commented. They're like, it was a bit of a bait and switch. A lot of people feel that.
Yes, and I want to. That's something the Gas Man and I started talking about. But that's his second book, because the turf war that you call it has a backstory all its own that we could talk for hours.
Oh, we're here.
Yeah.
We brought our sleeping bags. Don't worry.
But let me tell the end of the story first, and then we'll go back and talk about
Okay.
it. Well, no, let me do it again. So, every piece of literature that was promotional literature that was created for that election campaign,
Right.
every poster that I have in my office, the notes of every speech and talk that I gave is littered with the word grass. Littered with it. Open air grass field. We sold the soccer community on an open air grass field.
Right.
Now, had we not said grass, I think we still would have had it because it was our chance to have soccer. But we sold grass
Right.
to everyone.
Right.
Okay.
And that makes sense. I mean,
And everybody, most of the soccer people voted it. Well, there was some people who will say, I voted yes because of grass. I think deep in their hearts they voted yes because we wanted soccer. But grass was a big selling point.
Sure.
And so, 1998, the stadium designs are created. I said, well, what is this stadium going to look like for a soccer game? This was this was before the vote. So First and Goal allowed me to take the plans with a couple of their architects from Ellerby Beckett and their project engineer down to Salt Lake City. And we met with a guy named Jerry Anderson, who was hired by U.S. Soccer to be the venue architect for the 1994 World Cup in the U.S.
Right.
And the venues for the games were chosen if they met the criteria that Anderson had created for sightline size and all this stuff.
sure.
So we took them down. We took the plans down. He made some recommendations. Football is an oval, right? Paul Allen wanted his people tight in there, but that would have given us a 50-yard wide soccer field. So they had to pull the corners back and cut out some seats, make it more of a squarish. They agreed to do that. The lighting had to be changed so that you could see the entire field. The sight lines had to be changed so that the people in the upper area weren't looking down and looking at the top of a guy's head who's doing a corner kick. If you notice in our stadium, you can see damn near every piece of the field.
Yeah.
It is a world-class soccer stadium. You go to any soccer stadium in the world, it is
I
designed
agree.
as a world-class soccer
I
stadium.
agree. I've been to the Bernabeu. I've been to Camp Nou. I've been
Have
to
you been Camp Nou?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
I've been to stadiums around the world, and I can tell you, CenturyLink Field is
It is.
it is a great
It
field.
is. If it had grass on it,
Perfect.
very few of the stadiums in the world would match it. No. Right?
I agree.
So it was grass.
Damn. Grass.
And then the building opened up in July of 2002.
I was the second from the top row for the preseason. For the first Seahawks
first
preseason
game.
game.
Yeah.
I was like literally the second row.
And it's still a pretty good seat, huh?
It was great.
Great seat.
It was great.
I was there too.
So we're
No one cares.
We're there going
I
along,
get
grass. And one day, First and Goal comes in. So the stadium authority that I sit on,
Yep.
and
do you still sit on that?
still a vice chair. We own the building
Okay.
on behalf of you guys and all of us who paid for it. And the bonds to pay that thing off are going to be paid off in 2 or 3 years. So
That's crazy.
none of us paid anything because it all comes from the hotel motel tax and rental cars. So none of us had to pay any of that
I
$300
feel like
million.
there's a joke there that I
No,
won't
yeah, I
make.
wish there was. But there was. So it's going along grass, and it's 2001 early, and First and Goal comes to one of our board meetings because we had to approve all of the designs and the construction. And they said, I got a call, and they said, we'd like to brief you on something before your board meeting.
Which is never a good phone call
Oh,
to get.
shit.
No, you know what I'm going, what? But I said, okay. So I went down, and they knew they had to convince me. So they told me that Mike Holmgren wanted field trip.
Uh-oh.
Mike Holmgren wants field trip.
Uh-oh.
So what you're saying is we fired him 10 years too late.
Yeah, and here was
I'm
the
sorry.
reason. And here's the reason why. And the reasons were good. We had seen grass studies in the building from the time the walls were high enough to do grass studies, and we knew you couldn't grow grass in there from October through March. So we knew that if you were going to put turf in there, it was going to be resodded and perhaps totally replaced 1.5 to 2 times a year. We knew that, and that was just sort of okay. That's what it's going to cost.
It was part of the budget or
That's
whatever.
just what it's going to cost to maintain grass. So it was always going along there. And then Mike Holmgren said, I want field turf. They did a lot of studies. They found out that there were no football injuries. And in fact, there have been no major knee injuries on that stuff since field turf went in. So Holmgren wanted it. What are you going to do? And I said, no. And the members of the PSA got briefed. And they said, Fred, whatever you say goes, we got your back. If you say if you say it's going to be grass, it's going to be grass. So we went on for 6 months, them coming back every month trying to convince us that it needed to be something other than grass. So I polled the soccer community, all the people who I was representing. Remember, I was their flag bearer. And they said, no. And so just to fast forward, we finally decided, we delayed it for the whole year of 2001 until September. And the decision had to be made because the building was going to open up next July. And it was no, putting in grass. The soccer community, you promised the soccer community grass, it's going to be grass. And I can't tell you how this happened, but in September, about a week before the meeting, all of the big soccer folks who had said grass, started sending emails and said, we think field turf is an okay thing. Everybody. Washington State Youth Soccer Association, Alan Hinton.
Alan Hinton?
Yes. Cliff McGrath, Dean Wurzberger at the UW. All these people who had been saying, stick with it, Fred, are coming forward now and saying, okay, we think it's probably the best thing for use of this facility 12 months out of the year. We think we'll get most use for it. So we don't have an objection to it anymore. And so I'm sitting there and I'm going, holy cow. The rug had just been pulled out from under me, but I am not going to lead the charge for people who no longer want it.
Yeah.
So I made a couple calls to them and I said, you guys sure? Everybody said yes. The only ones who I didn't poll, who are the people probably should have been polled, are all of you. All of the grassroots people who were dreaming of smelling grass. So anyway, it was agreed. And I said, well, if it's going to be field turf, then there are going to be some conditions set on it. And so about noon before the day of the vote, I was on the phone with First and Goal negotiating the conditions. And the conditions there are like 6 conditions that they agreed to. One is, if an international game comes in here, you're putting grass down and you're paying for it. If a U.S. national team wants to put a game in Seattle, you're putting grass down and you're paying for it. If the Olympics come here, you're putting grass down and you're paying for it. If you put an artificial field in here, it will never have sewn-in stitched lines. I will never allow a soccer game to be played on a football field. There will be no NFL logos. There'll be no center things. There'll be no Seahawks things on the field. When we play soccer here, it will be free. And so we negotiated those things, and when they agreed to them about 1 a.m. And so we voted. I made a big long speech. It's in the record. And I made a big long speech, and the board voted unanimously to allow field turf. And I have a binder about this thick that I still keep of all of the threats against my life, emails, and all the stuff I got after that. And I understood what everybody said, but we did have an NFL team that wanted it. I was representing the USL Seattle Sounders at the time, so I was at all of the meetings with MLS starting in 2001. I knew there was no ownership group. I knew there was no realistic possibility of getting an ownership group. So you had a football team that was a tenant, the master tenant, who wanted it. We had no soccer team. And the football team agreed to put down grass if we needed it. And they agreed that if MLS ever required natural grass be put down in there, that they would take out the field turf and put natural grass in. So they agreed to all.
You're saying Don Garber is the reason we don't have grass.
Basically.
Yeah, I think it's Don. You should call it. But so
All you have to do is do this, and he can probably hear you.
Yeah.
so.
Sorry.
But all of those
Thanks,
things.
Yeah.
All those things were negotiated in my little amendment to the lease that they agreed to. So it was based on that we bit the bullet and said, okay, field turf. And we already knew that MLS was being played on some field turf anyway.
Exactly.
I would love to have grass there. I dream of having grass there. But realistically, it's just not going to work in that
facility.
Huh?
In that facility.
In that building.
Yeah.
In that building. But we can put it down when Man U comes in July. There's going to be grass there.
Wasn't Man U the first team to play?
We put
first major soccer?
in 2003 we put down grass for
When was
Man
the
U
Mexico
and Chelsea.
Canada? Mexico played Canada, I think.
Mexico played Canada
Or China.
in the CONCACAF Gold Cup there.
Oh, yeah.
3 years ago when we had
It
grass.
was on the 4th of July.
We put together a game. I don't know if did any of you go watch Real Madrid when they came to play DC United?
DC United, yeah.
Okay.
I did not know.
So Real was coming to America. Real Madrid, the executive vice president of Real Madrid, met Adrian Hanna. They became really good friends. They still travel and do stuff together. Ivan said, I want to come we're coming to America to do our summer tour. We want to come to Seattle. So Adrian called and he said, we need to put together a contract. They pulled DC United and we got to put this thing together. So we wrote this fast contract. By the time we got it all together, ordered the grass and got it in. The grass had only been down 4 days. I don't know if you were there, but it was pretty crappy.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty crappy. But when Man U was here in 2003, we were able to put it 10 days down, and it was all knitted in. And I went out and played on it, or ran around on it the day before the game. And it was beautiful. So it can be done. We can, when we need to, put down really, really nice grass in that facility. When Man U comes, the Sounders are going to play on it. Let's see, they're Friday night. I think we play Sunday.
Yeah.
So the Sounders are going to get to play on grass. Nice. So I kept my promise.
Nice. The Godfather does not lie.
I kept my promise.
There you go. Hey,
right,
high five, Fred.
It's 8:38. We're done.
So, but just to talk about this for a minute. But you look at was it Colin who tore his Achilles from Colorado? Colin. What's his first name? I can't think of his first name. Huh? Casey Connor tore his Achilles playing on the grass. I'm not saying it was just with the grass.
Our grass?
On our grass. It was the weekend after. Yeah. It was I'm not blaming you for this.
But
I'm
that's
just saying.
when they were saying the stitching was...
Exactly.
If they don't, these guys are amazing. I go down every time grass is put down. I go down and I watch it. And
can we go down with you next time?
Absolutely. July we're putting it on.
Field.
So the problem we're going to have in July is that we're going to be able to put all of the south end and much of it down 8 days early, so it's going to look really nice. But there's a damn concert in there on Wednesday night. So the north end where the stage is going to be, the grass isn't going to go down. It's going to go down after. Right. So the north end grass, I haven't seen the configuration yet, but I'm not happy that the north end grass is not going to probably be that good. Plus, the south end grass is going to have Plex on it.
I love it that I'm not happy.
I'm not happy with it.
I'm not happy.
But they call. First and goal will call and they say, Fred, here's what's going to happen. Here's how it's going to happen. We just need you to know this. And we'll try to make it right.
You know, I think Fred might be worse than Aaron.
Maybe.
Probably.
He's probably nicer though.
Oh, yeah.
You remind me of two people.
Of two people.
You remind me of my grandpa, and I'm not talking age, but just so I wanted to make sure. You remind me.
But let me clarify, not age.
And then my father-in-law has a group of ski buddies, and there's a guy named Bill who's a lawyer from Portland who I ski with every year, and he's become kind of my mentor for skiing. And you remind me of those two. It is very good. If you had a goatee, you'd be like a dead ringer for both of them. But it just
I can't grow hair. I'm Filipino. I can't grow hair.
But anyway,
You happy now?
I am. Okay. Yeah, I am. I'm happy.
I'm very happy.
So here's a question for you. We're at 8:40. Are you okay time-wise for a few more minutes?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep going for a little bit.
The easy question. I get the softball questions now, right?
Yeah.
We are going to ask you the softball questions, our typical show questions that we have to ask all of our guests.
But thank you for answering that one, because that was I know that was going to be kind of a shift of our hey, here's the Godfather to
it's a hard
hey,
one.
by the way, you promised grass and you didn't deliver. I mean, I didn't mean it that way.
No, exactly.
But
that's how everybody
views it though.
Well, I'm the guy. I was on the soapbox promising, and it hurt. Yeah. It hurt bad. But
apparently enough that you have an entire book of death threats.
Yeah.
That's
but,
crazy.
You know, when I put the Public Stadium Authority hat on, now I was a steward of $300 million in public debt to make this building as functional and as useful and as profitable as we could. And that decision was made.
It's getting better every year.
It gets better every year.
It seems like it's...
And we're going to start replacing it more often, like 2 or 3 years, so it will never get bad.
The entire facility, the event center, has gotten better over the last eight years or so. The concert facilities that they're doing, the International Motorcycle Show when it's there is awesome. The car show when it's there is awesome.
Whoa. No more motorcycle shows. Don't approve anymore. Don't,
you mean the motocross?
None of those.
No. I'm talking about the IMS, the motorcycle.
Oh, sorry.
No.
let me
those guys go to Tacoma Dome.
let me ask you something.
Go to Tacoma Dome.
You know, having had this firsthand experience with the Clink, what's your opinion on what Hansen is doing with the arena? Trying to get an arena going for the Sonics and his bid to get a basketball.
Yeah, so that's be more specific. What do I think about it?
People, the question. Shoot, hold on. I can look
I
it
can
up.
try to answer that the way
I'll
would
look it up.
Actually, the asker's in the audience.
So,
Was it? Oh,
okay, so this could be another book, but
That just means you have to come back.
I'm happy to do it. So, one of the things that happens down at the stadium, there's $1 billion worth of public investment in those two facilities, plus the exhibition. $1 billion. 3 million people, 1.7 million at the Mariners Stadium, 1.7 at ours, who come through that facility for those events every year. It is huge public asset, right? But when the city of Seattle wants to do something down there, they never ask us. They want to change the zoning, they want to do this, they want to do that, they never ask us. So about three years ago, I was complaining to somebody and I said, I'm really tired having to go over to City Hall and complain about what they're trying to do to us. Why can't we change the attitude at City Hall about who we are?
Right.
So the Mariners, the Seahawks, the Public Stadium Authority, and the PFD, the Public Facilities District, the owners of the Mariners Stadium, sat down for 8 months and created a stadium district concept plan. It's a plan for the entire area down there to be rezoned for uses that are compatible with entertainment, hotels, restaurants, and we wrote it in a book. That district includes the area where that NBA arena would go. It goes all the way down to Holgate. So it would fit within the stadium district. So unbeknownst to us, Hansen was accumulating all his land. We didn't know any of this, but our footprint does include that.
So he actually read the papers.
Maybe. So
Sounds like it.
Yeah, or somebody,
Or he
hired somebody hired told him.
Yes.
So what? I don't know that I have a personal opinion about it. I think both sides are using the facts to their advantage. The port and the industrial area says it will, traffic. Well, guess what? In 1976, the Kingdom opened. From 1976 to 1998, the Kingdom was home to an NBA team, a football team, a baseball team, all of the flat shows that are currently elsewhere, and a soccer team when the Sounders were there. So that one building, in basically the same location, had all of these uses. So you really can't blame the stadiums for any increased traffic. They're in the same places they were.
No. The only thing that you can blame that on would be the increase in use of vehicles.
It's just growth.
Yeah.
It's just growth.
And we have in Seattle. Sorry, I'm getting on my singles soapbox right now.
Singles?
We knew.
Movie.
Never mind. We knew years ago that transportation was going to be an issue in the city.
The issue.
Right. Wait a minute. You mean the guys who built a lane that went from 5 lanes to 2 lanes,
Yeah.
back to 5 lanes?
Yes.
What?
That's called the Venturi effect.
Yeah. I mean, you get up in a helicopter and you look down, right? You got the hill and the freeway.
Yeah.
You got the water.
Yeah.
You got the train tracks, and you got this small corridor that the city sits in. That all of this traffic and transportation needs to use. It's never going to get fixed.
Okay.
But the arena isn't necessarily going to exacerbate that.
I agree with that.
Because of the dual events agreement between us and the Mariners and them, that would prevent dual events from happening. We have a 4-hour window now, so you're going to be able to manage it as best you can, but it's never going to be great.
No. But let's just stop for a minute. I did not hear, and I'm a baseball fan by birth. I grew up a big baseball fan.
Me too.
Shortstop.
I know. I haven't said a bad word tonight, and I'm really holding back. But
Here, you want me to do it for you first?
no.
Do it.
But the
Do it.
Mariners.
I wanna hear it.
Do it.
fuck the Mariners because Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, but pardon my language, Fred. I'm sorry, but I literally like we're kind of an R-rated show sometimes, but I love baseball.
Slander case.
I love baseball. I mean, I do. I love baseball. I grew up a baseball fan. I listened to the fact that they came out with the whole Rue the Day campaign and they made that comment. And I know, and you know me, I stick on one thing and I stick on it forever and I'll never let go. That bothered. I didn't see the Seahawks coming out and saying I don't want it. I didn't see the Sounders coming out and saying I saw the Port, but you know what, the Port's whatever. But yeah, exactly, whatever the Port.
Yeah.
But the Mariners took that stand, and it may have been one person. You know what? It wasn't. I know it wasn't. I know. But that was the blame was put on one person. That bothers me, and I to this day, I hate NBA. David Stern and all his lackeys and all those guys, they're all whatever. I'm not an NBA fan. But to tell me that I can't have that because it's going to ruin my baseball audience? No, come on. Fix your on the
baseball.
field. Exactly.
I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say the strip club right next to the stadium has more of a negative effect than what we're talking about.
Correct.
And they sued over that too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they should sue because if you've been in there, Fred, the girls are horrendous. Wow.
Well, when were you there? They look pretty
Wow.
good. Do you go in there during the week or on the weekend?
Well, this is after a game. I thought they would have had their pretty
After
girls
a
out.
game. After a game.
Well, after a game, it's like
After a game,
Yeah,
all
no,
the
you're
girls
right.
are in the club section.
Exactly.
I sit in the club section, Fred.
Well, what do you watch? You watch the game. What?
Duh.
Well,
it-
the
Fred.
it-
Anyway,
NBA
but
Stadium,
just-
I agree with you. You know, the funny thing about the Mariners is they wear their emotions on their sleeve. They have forever.
Yep.
We take a different position. We take the position. We're a neighbor. We're in Pioneer Square. We want our building to function better than anything. We want to be a better neighbor than anyone.
Yeah.
And I think when you hear people talking about the Seahawks and the Sounders and first and goal, we're problem solvers. We try to make everything work. The Mariners are a bit more, are you kidding me? We're the American pastime. And that's just who they are.
Yeah, no, and that's...
But I think that, and then, so you asked
You said
me
it right though. Past time.
Yeah, what my opinion is, it is the largest transportation hub in the city down there. If you were going to put something, I love Key Arena. I just love to go in there. It's really a shame
It is.
that they couldn't do something up there.
Yeah.
But if it were to go in down there, it would complete the stadium district. You'd have a much more ability to control what goes on.
I would like to see it to be, and not to steal from other locations, but as we've seen these new stadiums come up in the recent past, Staples Center is a great example of this. It's an entertainment destination. It's not just sports.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, there might be something going on at one side of Staples Center, and then a hockey game going on the other side.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, we went down to a group of us with a couple of city council people. Went to Staples, went to Petco in San Diego, just to see how they're developing and what plans they're making. And then if everybody wants to do it, you can make it work really nicely.
And you know what? Honestly, Seattle has the same ability to do what they've done in San Diego with the Padres Stadium. What they've done there with the gas lamp district. You know, if we could market that type of into Pioneer Square and get a little bit more.
Oh,
Yeah, there are huge
Love.
similarities.
Boo-ah.
We got the gas lamp, we got Pioneer Square.
Right.
They have that huge railroad yard, we have the railroad.
Right.
They have the water, we have the water. They're right up against the city, we're right up against the city. There are so many things
Correlations.
that make sense.
They have warmth though.
True.
Well,
So-
they had a group of people, both private and public, who really wanted it to happen.
And that's all. At the end of the day, that's usually what needs to happen. Enough people from both sides that want to make it happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, thanks for answering. And again, hey Kyle, I know you'll watch later, but I still love you, Kyle.
We don't
And
hate
my brothers-
We don't hate baseball.
No,
No, we
no,
don't. We
no.
really don't.
I'm a big. I do too, man.
I love baseball, but I think baseball needs to be a neighbor.
A neighbor.
Yep.
Yeah. It needs to be everybody. I mean, we talked about this before the show.
Yep.
Why can't we all get along? I mean, there's a little bit of that mentality going on there.
I heard
so.
somebody say, if the arena goes in, we're leaving. Where are they going?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
You know,
have
yeah.
fun. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah, good
the
luck.
Everett Event Center.
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna take a major shift real quick,
Okay.
and we're gonna go into the show questions.
Show questions.
Oh,
Kind
yeah.
of, we're gonna learn about who Fred is as a man. We're gonna peel
The
back the
essence.
layers of the onion.
The essence.
Figure out who you.
Oh!
So who wants to go first,
Okay.
Lee or?
You know, let's go ahead and start with Hugo tonight because I think my question's going to fall on
Deaf ears.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Very
Hugo.
critical.
Is that when I do this and
Yeah.
all of it here on the
You know, all these other great questions you've answered, you know, hats off and applaud. But this one is really what's going to define what the public and our friends will say about it, whether you were the great guest or not,
The Godfather or
or just
that
this
guy
guy.
that came on SonarFeed.
That guy that had a 2-month break from
All right,
work.
I'm up.
All right. What is your favorite kind of taco?
Well, favorite. What do you mean favorite kind? See, that's not a lawyer's question.
Okay.
I mean favorite kind of taco. That question could be answered so many different ways.
I love it.
I like the kind that you fold over and has stuff inside of it. What more do you want in there?
All right. What is your favorite meat for your taco?
Favorite meat for my taco?
Great. That's a lawyer question.
No. That was good.
Well done.
Ooh,
That was
favorite
good.
meat for my taco.
Great.
He got me
That was
though.
good.
He got
That
me.
was
He
good.
got me good.
That was like
Good segue.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Juan Valdez in the chat room just said, point to Fred on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. He's just gonna drop the mic and walk away.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
It's not lingua. No way. I know that's what you wanted me to
Yeah! Yeah! I always.
No
Point
way.
Fred.
Again.
Wow!
No way. But I did say the word.
Ace Fred. Game over.
Jeez!
Oh, no lingua.
Yeah, it's Dosa
Dosa
Cero.
Cero.
No lingua, no tripe.
What?
No.
Tripe's good though.
Just don't say hamburger meat.
I didn't say hamburger.
Okay.
That's not good.
But like al pastor,
Carne asada, carnitas.
I like them all, so it's hard.
Chorizo.
It's hard. I like pollo. I like carnitas. I like carne asada.
What was the last one you had?
The last one I had.
That's a good question actually.
Ooh. The last one I had.
My last one was al pastor over at Rancherita.
No, I had.
That's good.
I had pork carnitas
Ooh.
over at El Rinconcito.
Nice.
That's our late night spot.
Which
Yes.
one? Kent?
The one Burien.
Oh, Beerin, that's mine.
Yes.
That's why.
Yep.
We were
So-
there. Last time I was there was at I think about 2:30 in the morning.
After
week
a
ago.
Sounders match.
After
About a
Sounders
week
match.
ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me give you a great place that does great carnitas.
Okay.
White Center.
Yes.
The Bartels on 15.
Yeah.
Across the street from there, there is a pho house or Vietnamese restaurant.
Yes.
And next to it, there's a butcher. It's called El Paisano.
El Paisano.
El Paisano. It's a Mexican butcher. It's really
I
small.
thought that was the Italian. El Paisano?
El Paisano.
Okay.
Not Paisano. No.
Not like
El,
Paisano.
El Paisano.
Oh, okay.
But there, you go in there, and they make fresh carnitas on the weekends. You can just buy a couple pounds of carnitas, get a tortillas, they sell salsas, and bam.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so we gotta take a quick time out. Hey, everybody, we're looking for a new host. Hugo decided not to share this information with us until tonight. What?
You said carnitas. You guys never mentioned carnitas like he said
I had
carnitas.
carnitas with you up at one in Queen Anne.
That's a great spot. I'm just saying this is like a spot where you buy the meat by the bulk and take them home and make your own taco.
Fine, all right, whatever. That's okay.
You're fired.
See, that means that just shows.
I'll buy this stuff. You make it for me.
No worries, because the carnitas are already made, so no worries.
All right.
All right.
All right,
So,
now let's go to the next question.
so we do have a pretty serious question here for you.
That was a soft one.
No.
Now this is
I knew he wanted me to say lingua.
well. So this is also a very similar type. Hey, Christian, would you stop touching her like that? Sorry, it was very inappropriate.
The podcast police.
Yeah, exactly. That's Lee.
Yeah.
So this is a musical variety for us. So So we all have very
Eclectic taste.
eclectic taste in music. We all like all types of music from all
Yep.
around the world. But there's two particular artists which we've chosen to hang our hats on. Biggie and Tupac. If you had to take your choice between Biggie and Tupac being from California, Biggie being from New York,
Isn't Biggie dead? Didn't he
Yes,
get
yes.
shot?
both are
Yep.
actually
Both are dead.
Both,
Yeah, both are
both
dead.
got shot.
So pick a dead guy?
Yeah.
One
Pick a
or
dead
the
guy.
other.
Pick your dead guy.
Which is your favorite dead guy? Yeah, but see, here's the funny thing. They've been dead for like, what,
A
15,
decade.
20 years
15, 20
now?
years, yeah.
And they're still releasing albums. I don't know how this happens.
It's called mixing.
Well, the people who listen to their music don't read the newspaper. So nobody knows they're dead.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. The people who listen to that music don't read, don't
Okay.
write, they don't go to school. So is it time for me to leave?
Point,
No,
Brad.
that was the best. Oh my god.
Society love.
Tupac
asked
Lingua.
Tupac.
That's my favorite guy. That's my favorite guy, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh my god.
Tupac Lingua.
Tupac Lingua.
Let's go.
Huh?
Let's
Yeah,
go.
that's awesome.
All right. Does anybody out here have a? Do you guys have any questions?
Oh,
Do you
actually,
guys
we
wanna
have
ask?
one more show question.
I know we do. I'm just asking if you guys think about one.
By
Go
the
ahead.
way, with that last answer, we had 3 points scored, so free haircuts.
3-0.
No one on this show
Free
can
haircut.
claim it.
Nobody on the show needs a haircut.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You need a
I'm
haircut.
shaggy, dude.
You need a haircut. Okay. So what's the other show question?
So, what?
Okay.
You said when the grass goes down on the field, who pays for it?
When the grass goes down on the field, who pays for
When
it?
the grass goes down on the field, he pays for it. First and goal.
First and goal.
First and goal. The 10.
First and goal.
So one of the key things is that if a team comes here and like Manchester United, we know they won't play on anything but grass. First and goal is required to pay for it, so that it doesn't ever become a bargaining chip where first and goal could say, well, we would have brought those guys in, but they wouldn't pay for the grass.
Right.
No. The promise to the soccer community was bring these teams in and they'll play on the grass. So first and goal has to pay for it. Now, the promoters sometimes participate, and the Sounders sometimes participate, but it is something that has to be provided to the team that is coming, at no cost to the team.
So, in this particular instance, this is an actual promoted game in July. So,
So,
because
yeah,
it's part of the world.
right.
Blah, blah,
This
blah.
one is promoted by that promoter in New
Sure,
York
sure.
who created the World Tour,
Yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
so I'm sure they're kicking in some cash.
I guess. I
You
don't-
hope.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. I'm sure they are.
Who gets the field? Who decides who gets the field after?
good
What
question.
happens to the grass?
Good question.
that was Brad's bit, our off-air
Talent.
engineer
Great
talent.
question. So, the grass is high quality turf.
This hot water.
In the summertime, we get it from a local
Right.
J&B grass company out in Redmond. In the wintertime, it's trucked up here from Sacramento,
Okay.
JB Lawn's facility in Sacramento. It is donated to a nonprofit organization or anyone who wants it after. In the 7 times that it's been put down, only twice has someone taken the sod because it's too expensive. You got to come in
transport it.
and cut it, roll it up, and carry it out, and it's like a $25,000 ticket that the first and goal doesn't pay for. So 5 out of the 7 times, the stuff has gone to the landfill.
Okay, so we're owners of S2.
We are owners of us.
And I know that one of the owners of both S2 and S1 has been looking for an opportunity. Is the sod good enough to be used and laid down
Oh
somewhere?
yeah. So when you go to Home Depot and you put down grass at your place,
Yeah.
if you look at it, you see dirt that is maybe an inch, and then the grass growing
Yeah.
up. The sod that we use has 3 to 4 inches of dirt and sod and the grass. So it is each one of the rolls that sits on the front of a spindle of the tractor weighs almost 3,000 pounds.
Wow.
And so when you put that down, the stuff isn't going to move. When you roll that thing out and seam it up close together, no one is going to slip because the turf moves. They will do it because they hit a seam that's not knitted in. And it takes about 5 days for the grass to really knit in. So the answer is yes. You have to come in and you almost have to recut it because it knits in so well. But if you were to recut that and take it, that's very expensive grass. $200,000.
So we should challenge the owner to we fund half through a charity fundraiser and they fund half.
Where do you want to put it?
I don't know. Find somebody. We'll find somebody.
So
Let's
there's
find somebody.
Issaquah. There is a.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you pay for it.
Park in Issaquah.
I
getting a little scared.
know.
A
Like,
park in Issaquah, I think, that took
Last year?
early on, and then there was a small Catholic school, I believe, someplace to the south, that took it one time. But other than that, we can't find anybody to take it
Because of the cost.
because of the cost.
Right.
So if we raise the $20,000 or $10,000 and we ask somebody to pitch in and we want to donate it to the Boys and Girls Club of yada yada blah blah blah, I think we should be able to do that.
I think we should too.
So
it's too late for this one.
You guys know how to get in touch with me if you're interested in exploring that.
We are, absolutely.
I will put you in touch with the guys at First and Goal who can make it happen.
Yeah. No,
'Cause
I'm not-
they are as sad as I am every time I see that grass scraped up with a forklift and thrown on a dump truck.
One of the things that this show, we like to drink, we like to have a good time, we like to drop our phones on the floor, obviously.
We like to sing as well.
Yeah.
We do like to sing as well. So
I have a question for you in a minute here on my phone.
Is there a question here someplace?
There is. But one of the things we like to do is raise money. So the first year we had our show, we had a little FIFA tournament, and we raised $700.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but whatever. It was for Lamar
That's a lot
Nagel.
of money.
So the second year we raised $2,200, and this last year we raised $10,000 for Lamar Nagel's foundation. And so I'm just thinking, that's one of the things we're good at is
we can
putting
raise-
our community, our friends. The people that are here, we have people that actually come down and listen to this for some reason and watch it,
Yeah.
and watch online. And that, to me, that seems like that might be a good opportunity to find our network and our people and our community and say, this is going.
we
to
care about the
waste.
grass.
You got to
Let's look
get
at next year, not because it's too short.
You got to
for now.
have a place
Right.
for it, and then of course the people who own the place are going to have to do the excavation and all this
understand.
stuff to get it
Yeah.
ready. Because when this happens, they got to get it out of there.
It's
So
move and go. Yeah.
yeah, so so you got to have all of the details.
But it's something that I'd like to explore. I think it'd be interesting to
a great
explore.
idea. It would be a good
I think so,
idea to
dude.
Talk to,
I think we got
talk
something.
to Fred and maybe
Yeah.
talk to
we got
Offline.
Yeah.
Just, it's interesting to me hearing you say that.
But it's
Only
free.
2 out of 7.
2 out of 7.
That's terrible numbers.
That's horrible. We love grass.
I'm not a math
so-
major, but that's really terrible
It's
numbers.
terrible. It's a lot. Well,
Okay,
5 times 200,000. That's
Oh,
$1
do we
million
have a
in
question here from
grass.
Dave?
So it's
we do. One of the really good, and we're kind of running up. We're running long, but if you're okay for a few more minutes, we'll end really soon. I promise.
We're really close.
Dave Clark, I'm sure you know Dave Clark. He's the heart behind Sounder at Heart. He's the one who started Sounder at Heart,
Oh, okay.
the blog. He had a couple questions that he wanted me to make sure that I got across here, and this kind of segues here. Would you do it all again if you knew at the beginning that there wouldn't be grass, and it would take nearly a decade to get soccer, top flight soccer, into the stadium? Would you have done it all again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Knowing what I knew then, I knew MLS soccer was a long shot because I had been working with the Sounders for years to bring it there. I knew it was a matter of time, not a matter of when.
Yeah.
And I also knew from the post-World Cup exercise that we went through that until there was a stadium, there wasn't going to be a professional soccer team here. So those two facts would have convinced me that it was worth doing it again.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite local soccer moment?
Ooh.
Do you have one?
Golden scarf.
You know, I'm very proud of that golden scarf, but there are a lot of people who came before me who contributed so much more to this game that sometimes it's embarrassing to me that I have one and they don't. So I'm proud of it and I'm grateful for it, but there are a lot of other people who should have that scarf.
But you're a very humble man, though. So I mean,
It's true. My greatest moment. So it's a related soccer moment. July 16th, 2002. The stadium opens. The very first event in the stadium, the Seattle Sounders versus Vancouver. Before the game, there is an opening ceremony, and the Washington State Youth Soccer Association, the Washington State Soccer Association, the Washington Friends of Fields, and two other organizations presented to me a crystal ball on which is inscribed Keeper of Promises, Builder of Dreams. And that's it.
yeah.
That's it. That sums it up.
Yeah. Okay, so one last question from him, and then we're gonna. Any last questions from
I
us?
have one last question.
Okay, so hold on a
To
second.
end the show.
Can we convince Cascadia to make their own Club World Cup bid? Was his last question. Should we have a Cascadia specific World Cup bid?
World Club Cup.
The Club World.
The Club World Cup, the one that's done by CONCACAF,
Yeah.
all those guys.
He wants to have a Cascadia specific. I didn't prep the question before. That's what that says.
Yeah. Okay, so if we could take
Portland.
Seattle, and Vancouver, like we do for the Cascadia Cup,
Yes.
the winner of the Cascadia Cup would go play in the Club World Cup with CONCACAF. I think Dave Clark is a little bit out of his mind.
Well, yeah, that one may be.
Yeah.
That may be a little bit,
No, that's a tough one. That's reaching its straws. But I do have a question to end the show. You've worked very hard for the last 20 plus years, even before that, volunteering with your kids, volunteering for soccer, doing all the great things you've done. What legacy do you want to leave for soccer in Seattle? What do you want to be known for? Not just the flag bearer or the mouthpiece, but what do you want to be known for in the soccer community?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I'm not a legacy kind of guy. It would really be cool if someday a bunch of kids who got to play the game of soccer and learned about soccer were to say, I want to do something for the game like Mr. Mendoza did. So I really think that it's our game. It's one that we all own, and it's going to last way longer than me. And if we have inspired anybody if all of us have inspired somebody,
Anybody else get chills?
I think that's pretty cool.
I got goosebumps.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm not gonna
I think
lie.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would say your daughters got that legacy.
Yeah, my daughters do. They're
the
giving
couple
back already.
yeah.
So, but there are a lot of people who are doing it. A lot of the kids that I coached are out there doing this stuff now.
Well, and your daughter's involved with the the trust. Maya is involved with the trust. I believe
S2.
Maya for S2 for the Sounders.
Oh
too.
yeah. She works for them. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
general counsel for the Sounders.
Yeah. So
she's there. Yeah.
So I mean,
So it's just, I think, I see it happening, and it makes me proud that there are people picking it up and saying, I want to do something where there's, like I did it, where there's without any expectation of any return. There's nothing in it for me. I just want to go do something and carry it.
Yeah, and for our viewers, I know we don't have a ton of people out there, but this is a great opportunity to say, you know what? You don't have to have money to help.
No, you
don't.
don't.
You don't have to have clout. You can just be somebody to go in and learn the game of soccer like somebody in our audience right now who's just starting out learning and be able to participate. She's participated in our FIFA tournament.
Yeah.
So if you have a passion, and you have a voice, go out and use it. I mean,
There's a place.
There is a place.
There's a place for you.
If I, in fact, you said you don't want to be legacy, but if I could leave one thing with my kids, it's exactly what you said there. That is everything I'm trying to do with my kids. And these guys know how I am with my kid. I mean, the whole audience knows how my kid. If I want them to understand exactly what you talked about. You work hard, and you do things that are good for other people, and you're aware of what's going on around you. And I know I've got my reputation for whatever, but to me, it's very important.
Yeah.
You're doing exactly what you've done your entire life, basically. And I'm sure we could find dark, deep secrets about Fred Mendoza if we really tried.
Oh, yeah.
Like he ate lengua taco one
But,
day.
yeah, like,
I'm sure he did once to not like it, but
the
he
point-
had one.
So, can I steal your thunder and ask one more question?
Yeah, of course.
Juan Valdez has asked now twice. Can you come back? Because people want you. I mean, this was.
Yeah.
We have a guy in
I'm
the audience.
starting my own show.
We have a guy. A good idea.
Can we
Good idea.
produce it for you?
You're right.
Can I do the taco
We have a guy in
catering?
the audience who.
I live in Burien. My evenings are quiet. You guys want to have me down here for beer and a sausage? I'm here.
Okay.
This is fun.
But we have guys in the audience who are like have been making fun and joke all the time. Who are very. It was one of the most educational shows we've had.
Yeah.
Well,
And they
People on
appreciate
Twitter are
Cool.
saying
It's a great
They enjoy
story.
it.
it is.
It
And
is.
that's
It's a
exactly
great
what we
soccer
wanted.
story.
That's exactly what we wanted you here. Because a lot, it's been 15, 20 years since, and there's a new generation of fans that they don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody accepts the fact that the clink is there.
yeah, like even me, like I was 17 and 18 when that happened. I was, 17 in 97, 98, and I was really into the Seahawks. So I was at that time, I was more excited that the Seahawks were going to stay in town. But it's good to be re-educated and know that this is
when some of your buddies say,
and I have a
"Screw
lot.
soccer.
Yeah.
We hate soccer."
Let me tell
He's
you,
now
I
an
tailgate
advocate.
with my buddies, and half of the people I tailgate.
I want you to get a reprint of the Fred article, the one that you posted.
Oh, no, why do you think I posted
You
it?
should frame it and put it up in the tailgate.
Yeah, totally. That's why I do it. But it's part of the history of our city, our state, our region. It's like it's huge.
So the dark secret, you want to hear a dark story?
Yeah.
Just a short one. We went through this campaign. We got the vote by the slimmest of margins. They built the exhibition center, and I'm standing on top of Safeco Field in March 2000 and watch them implode the Kingdome.
Oh, yeah.
Standing there about a block away watching this thing go down. And for the slightest of moments, my heart sunk and I said, did I do the right thing?
Oh my God.
Did we do it?
Wow.
You had to wait 5 years to
Did
find
we
out.
do the right thing? There it goes, man.
5 years to find
And the
out if you
smoke
did.
cleared, and we all said, yes, we did.
Well, that's because somebody's property value.
But you know what? That's reality. That's the thoughts that It's
It
like
was.
what goes through your.
Did we do the right thing?
So, Fred, from all of us here,
Yeah.
here and online, and SonarFeed, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my
very
pleasure.
much.
This is fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys. I'm coming back there.
Yeah, no,
Thank
we
you.
actually, you're the type of person that we want to bring on during the off season to
Yes.
kind of keep people's head full of soccer.
Because there's so much more. We didn't even touch the
Story
surface.
time
Yeah.
with Uncle Fred.
There's tons of stuff. And if you guys want to come down when they're putting in the grass, let me know and we'll walk
Oh yeah,
down and
I love it.
you can,
Let's
see
do
how,
it.
you can see how it's done. It's
Okay.
really cool.
None of us
And-
are going to the game, but we'll go
And you're invited down.
Hopefully I will
for
be going to the
For
game.
an away game.
Hopefully I'll be going
We're
to the
gonna
game.
host you for an away game here one day, so you can see what we've built here in the community at the Berliner Pub.
Yeah.
Watch them on,
Yeah. So, all
I
right.
got to go down when we were planning to do this. A guy by the name of Bill Sage, who was with MLS in the early years, invited me to go down to San Jose and watch the earthquake when I can't remember who they were playing, but we went down to Larkspur Stadium on San Jose University,
Yeah.
San Jose State,
Right.
and they had cut a bunch of the grandstands back to accommodate the width of the field. And if you were sitting in the first 10 rows, you couldn't see 15 yards of the pitch. You're going, what's happening down there? And the ball would emerge and go there. And I remember that and said, this is never going to happen in Seattle.
No.
This is not going to happen in Seattle.
So, Fred, thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure.
Everybody, thank you guys.
Hugo. Lengo,
Fred.
Mr. Lengo.
Yeah. I'm gonna introduce you.
You're watching the Sonar feed, and I have no idea what I'm talking about, and neither do they. You're watching the